This is EB3, speaking the truth in love. I just come on for a few minutes to give you guys a word of encouragement. So today is the day after Palm Sunday, but today is yesterday I dropped my middle son off. So back at school, back in the dorm. You know, I often think about the way I thought things were going to turn out and the way they actually turned out. And I want to encourage you, because I know I'm not the only person who look back over my life every so often and say, wow, this just didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out. But I want to encourage you that maybe it didn't turn out exactly how you planned it, the way you thought your vision of what your life was going to be like. But you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment in time. And you have people in your life that's shaping who you are. And it's all by the grace of God. Even the people that get on your last nerve, the people who you feel like continuously try to use you, abuse you, you are exactly where you are. Everything that you're going through is for a purpose. And most likely it's for your calling. So we have to understand that when the Word of God says that all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord, it is not just the good things. When it says all things, it really means all things. It means the loss of that loved one. It means the loss of that job. It means the closed door on whatever opportunity you was working on. But it also means that the education that you got. The parents that raised you. Whether you consider them good parents or, not so good. Either way, that first love that broke your heart to pieces and you never thought you'd get over it. Everything that happened to you, it didn't feel good. And even when you look back on it, there's some things you look back on, you're never going to figure out how it is working out for my good. But it is. I share a lot that I lost 2 children. I gave birth to 3 sons. But before that, I went through a 10 year, I think it was 10 years from 1993. No, so it was 9 years. I went 9 years of infertility, trying to get pregnant, giving up hope, all those things, being in prayer lines. The people that was with it probably can tell the story about as good as I can. In the midst of all of that, I never could imagine that I would have the 3 sons that I have. And on my worst days, when I'm feeling frustrated, because you know how children are, they're gonna do some things just like you did some things that maybe your parent didn't teach you to do, just like you did some things that maybe disappointed your parents, angered your parents, or whatever. We've all done something in our life that our parents didn't teach us to do. Like, they taught us to go this one route, and we decided, well, that route looks good, but I'm going to try this right here. Sometimes that was the best thing to do, and sometimes it wasn't. Depending on what kind of parents you have, they may be your safety net, and so you can do it more often than those who didn't have a safety net. Either way, all those things work together for your good, because they are what shape you into the person that you are. And I just want to give you a reminder as we go into Easter, that think about the thing that Jesus did for us, how he died on the cross for us, and how he is sitting on the right hand of the throne of God as an advocate for us. So that was for our good. And so we think about the things that happen to us, the things that we do, the things that we go through. All things work together for the good for them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose, his riches, and his glory. But sometimes there are things that other people go through that work out for our good. Sometimes there are things that we go through that work out for the good for somebody else. And it's designed that way. Like my going through the things that I've gone through, the things that I endured in my childhood, my early childhood, the things that I endured in my young adult, in my teenage years. I am so passionate about that, and I have so much compassion. And I think if I had not gone through the things that I've gone through, that maybe I wouldn't have the compassion that I do. Maybe I wouldn't be able to empathize with other people. Maybe I wouldn't be able to feel the pain and the plight and the cry of those around me. I wouldn't have that sensitivity. But because I know how it feels I don't know exactly how they feel, but because I know how I felt when this or that happened to me. I know how I felt growing up without a father. I know how I felt growing up with people around me who did not support me in the ways that I needed to. I know how it was growing up as kind of the nerdy, odd child out, quiet, reserved, studious, when I was surrounded by people who was totally opposite from me. And for those children who are growing up in the Pentecostal world, I know how it was when I was growing up, when they called us the Holy Rollers. Do they really put y'all in sheets and have y'all rolling around? You know, I know how it is to be bullied to a certain degree. But I also know how it is to feel like you got to fight because of the bullying. Because I didn't just sit back and cry. I was a little firecracker fighter. I was always the smallest one, but I was a little fighter. And so I have an empathy for those who are crying out for help, who are crying out for somebody to see them for who they are and not who or what they can do for them. You know, I have a sympathy for those who feel like they don't belong, because all my life I have felt like I didn't belong in the places where I was. But the one thing I do know is I belong to God. I remember praying one time, and like when I was a little kid, I used to write my prayers. Whatever I was going through, however I felt, all my emotions, I put it down in pages. And I remember one time praying that God would, I asked God why I didn't have a father, and because I saw all the little girls with their dads, including my sister with her dad, and I was just trying to figure out why I didn't have that. And so at the age I am now, I understand that even though it might have been messed up, but I do have such a compassion on people that feel like they're lost, just trying to figure out where they come from. whether it's because they were adopted or because they know one parent but don't know the other parent. There's like a disconnect there when you're going through stuff like that. So I said all that to say, I remember hearing God say, I am your father. The first time I realized through scripture, through prayer, through writing out my feelings and my emotions, that God has been there all the time. That a lot of things happen because God is sheltering you. He has a bigger purpose for you. And the things that the things and the places that you go, they may seem insignificant, but the lives that you touch wouldn't have been touched had you not been there. I'll say this. My plans were to go to college right after high school. I worked hard for that. I mean, I was studious because math came easy for me. History came easy for me. Science did not come easy to me. I had to read, and still might make a C. And the sciences that I excelled in were the ones that had math in it, because me making those hundreds, those 95s and hundreds on those math exams, pulled my grade up. Pulled my grade up to where I can make it. So when I say I graduated with honors, I had to work for that honors. Like I was studious. When the other kids were out there doing things, I'm inside studying. And I'm not saying that I didn't do things. I didn't go to parties. I didn't socialize with the other youth. But I did not go to a lot of places because, not necessarily because I couldn't go, although there were some things that my mama was not going to let me do. But a lot of times it was because I'm sitting in my room, I'm reading something, I'm studying something, which is why I sympathize for those who may not be straight A students, but they work hard to get where they are. And so, again, those traits that you have, they're working out for your good. I don't care what it looked like. It's working out for your good, and it's working out for somebody else's good. It may not seem fair. It may seem like you're going through more than somebody else. But remember, to whom much is given, much is required. And I often think about that. To whom much is given, much is required. So if you're going through a lot, if every time you turn around it seems like there's something going on that you just can't put your hand on it, but it just feels like the worst thing in life, like you always going through something, and it's like, oh my God, when is it gonna stop? To whom much is given, much is required. And if you are gifted in many areas, then of course the enemy is going to come up against you. But remember, God will lift up that standard for you, and God is your vindicator. He will fight for you. He is fighting for you, even when you can't feel it. Anyway, this has been EB3, speaking the truth in love. I pray that you got something out of this, out of what I've said, that you've been encouraged. But anyway, be blessed, be a blessing, and have a most wonderful day. I'm out.